As we studied in the measures of central tendency, it helps us understand the central value of the data around which the entire data set is clustered. But it doesn't tell us how the entire data is spread, as in you will not get to know what is the overall spread of the sample or of the population that you're studying. Let's try and understand this with an example. Let's say I have these two series. Now if you would notice, series 1 has 10 to 100 as a number on day 1 to day 10. On the other hand, we have series 2 which only has 50 and 60 as a number. Now by virtue of only looking at the series, you can say that there is a high level of variation that is there in this data. For example, in day 1, it got only 10. Day 2, it got 20. Day 3, 30. This could be, let's say, the amount of sales that one is making on a given day. On the other hand, you will notice that this series is pretty consistent. It's only 50, 60, 50, 60. So now with the businessman, he can easily predict that what will be my overall sales could be for that given day or a next day. And that's where variation, standard deviation plays a very, very significant role. I'm going to calculate average first. And what is the average of these two series? I'll just copy and paste the formula. If you would notice, for both the series, the average is the same. And that is what I was trying to say, that an average or a measures of central tendency will only let us know that what is the center value of that given series. Instead, the standard deviation or the variance would let us know what is the overall spread of the population. Let me first tell you how to calculate a standard deviation and a variance by using the mathematical formula. First of all, we subtract individual values of a given series by the average of that given series. I'll press F4 so that it becomes absolute referencing and the number doesn't move, and I paste the formulas. Now you will notice I am reducing individual values from the average. This is the first step. After this first step is done, after this we do a square of the value that we have. Whatever was the distance from the mean of that given value, we are trying to do a square of that. This is the distance from mean, and this is the square of distance from mean. Now these are the values that I received. So the first thing that we did was, we first of all calculated the distance from mean for individual values, that how far are these all values from the average, and then we've done a square of all of these individual values. The next step is to do a sum of squares. This is how we do sum of squares. This is my sum of squares. The formula is, the sum of squares shall be divided by the count of the overall sample size minus 1. And now, in order for me to calculate the variance, I will do sum of squares divided by the count of samples minus 1. So this is my variance. And a standard deviation is nothing but a square root of the variance. There we go. So this is how mathematically you would calculate the standard deviation and the variance. Now let's see if these values are matching with the Excel based formulas. I'll calculate the variance first. Here is matching. And let's calculate the standard deviation. There we go. Now if I will just do a copy paste of the variance formula for this series as well, if you will notice, the first series, which has a high variation, has given us a variance of 916. On the other hand, the variance of the series that does not have a lot of ups and downs has only returned it 27 as a variance. So you can assume that lower the standard deviation, higher the probability for us to be able to predict the futuristic numbers. So it's always recommended that we look at the standard deviation of that given sample and see if there's a high variation in that data series. When you see a lot of variation in the data, it is worth investigating and finding out that why there is a lot of variation in a given data series. I hope this explanation has helped you understand the calculation methodology behind the standard deviation and the variance. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you once again.